Now we would request Sri Tejendra Khanna for his keynote speech on addressing security challenges arising from religious cleavages. Sri Tejendra Khanna is the former Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. He also served as the Chancellor of Delhi Technological University, Indraprastha Institute of Information Technology, Delhi, Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University and Ambedkar University. We are extremely grateful to Sri Tejendra Khanna for having attended all the editions of MPAGD and extending his unwavering support to Usanas Foundation. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Maharaj Kumar Sahab, Shri MP Akbar, distinguished ambassadors, and all distinguished delegates to this third edition of the MPD Security Dialogue. When I was asked to propose a subject for my sharing some thoughts with you, I chose the topic of addressing security challenges created by religious cleavages. If you see the history of violence across the world over centuries, a lot of the violence has actually been promoted and it originated due to religious schisms and conflicts. The Crusades in the medieval times, Christianity versus Islam, the current violence in Sudan, Arabic Muslims versus the Christian South, all kinds of clashes which have happened within the Islamic world between people of slightly different faith lines, Shia, Sunni, Ahmadiyya, Sufis, Christianity, Christian dogma. You take the history of Christianity. Jesus Christ, and I went through a 7-year as a hostel student in an American Jesuit school of Roman Catholics. I read the life and teachings of Christ. Christ was one person who said, God is love. My commandment is love thy God with all thy heart and soul, and love thy neighbor as thyself. Within that same brotherhood of Christianity, you go to the times of the severe, all kinds of killings and violence and actions against the so-called heretics who lived their life differently from the official dogma of the Christian Catholic Church or whatever it was. That is what led to Protestant people protesting. Are we talking about love or are we talking about violence? In the Islamic tradition, and I've read a very nice book by Karen Armstrong. She's a writer on religious themes, spirituality. Recently I read it. Muhammad, a prophet for our times. I read the whole book. Muhammad Sahab said when he gave the call for worshipping one Allah, one supreme God, and taking people away from tribal worship of animist gods and all, fire and air and water, whatever it was. He said to the people who had converted to this faith, in Medina first, then he came to Mecca, he said, if you meet somebody, propose to him that they may shift to this monotheistic faith which I have given. But if they do not agree, let them go there. But Aurangzeb, the fifth Mughal emperor, and I have read all biographies, every single one of them, he said to Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib, either you convert to Islam or I am going to sever your head. He chose not to convert, and the Shahid Ganj Gurdwara at Chandni Chowk that Baza was referring to is a witness to the fact that he was beheaded. When we say Islam is a religion of peace, yes. When we say Salam alaikum, wa alaikum salam, salam means peace. we want to promote peace. How is peace promoted? Peace is promoted by the feeling of love, compassion, humility, not by violence. So over the years, people who are now promoting these kinds of wrong conceptions of religion, that is something we have to promote by using violent means, convert people to our particular point of view, or otherwise subject them to all kinds of lethal punishment, is no longer going to be a tenable narrative in the modern world. So people need to completely move away from that kind of mindset. I recall saying at the last episode also, the last conference, this notion among some people, which is still being perhaps propagated by certain strands in Islam, that Nizam-e-Mustafa shall prevail in the whole world. Sharia law, Nizam-e-Mustafa shall prevail. I'm saying forget it. You are living in a fool's paradise, it's an illusory concept. And if you try and promote it, you are going to meet a severe wall of defensive violence. And it will be something which will dominate whatever effort is made. I mean, and in any case, if you are making it, no prayer is going to be accepted in the court of the law. If he is a Lord of peace and we say, Rahmanul Rahim, a place of mercy, of forgiveness, how can he forgive you for creating violence and violence across communities and society? Now, India has had over its long history a great tradition of openness to diversity. Many people feel threatened by diversity. India has always had a very open mindset, welcoming diversity, and in the Rig Veda, one of the oldest Audhva Vedic literature, we have first Sanskrit shloka which said, keep the windows of your mind open so that the winds of wisdom can blow through from all directions. So India has been a remarkable history of basically inculcating and improving the whole tapestry of our ways of life, our dresses, our cuisines, our music, our culture. We have taken things from different streams of the religious experience as well. There are Sufi dargahs here, where thousands of Hindus and Muslims go, thousands of Sikhs will go. And there's no dispute at all that it was a Muslim Sufi saint, or he was a Hindu or a Sikh Sufi saint. No. He was a lover of God. He dedicated his life to the true inner worship of the Almighty. And that is why he was able to receive the allegiance and the respect of all kinds of people who were also following the path of inner communion with the Lord. Now, very interestingly, in all the religious traditions, there are people who have not gone for just formal external worship. They have gone for what they call deeper, mystical, inner worship. And once they have gone there, for them the whole world is one family, what they call Vasudeva Kutumbakam, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Guru Nanak Dev said, Nanak Naam Chardi Kala Tere Bhane Sarbat Da Phala, seeking the good and well-being of all. So basically the need today, if we want to move away from security challenges caused by people who are misinterpreting religion, inciting people to indulge in religious violence, do jihad. The real meaning of jihad, if you look into it, is basically getting over the negative tendency of your own mind. In Urdu से अपने नफ्स के ऊपर उसमें जो तकरीबी ताकतें हैं उसके ऊपर काबू करना. What we say in Hindi, काम, क्रोध, लोभ, अहंकार, इसके ऊपर कंट्रोल करना, This is Jihad. And Guru Gobind Singh said, a Khalsa is a person not who just wears, the 5 prakas, kirpan and this, that and the other, kanga, kada, no. Khalsa is a person who has conquered the negative tendencies of his mind. I think today there is a need for people in the governance system, not in India. I think India doesn't need it. I think India, as Anjay Prasad was very correctly saying, it's a part of the soil, water and air that we have breathed for thousands of years in this country. It's a complete understanding of what it is to be a good human being, to be loving, kind, compassionate, to keep open mind, let people worship by any name. I keep on listening to Gurbani, to Shabad. They are saying, how does it matter if you call the Lord Almighty Allah, you call him Ram, Krishna, God, Father, what does it matter? He is nameless and timeless. Why are we fighting by just the fact that some people choose to Arabic word Allah and somebody else is saying Ram? Ram is just the immanent power which is sustaining the entire creation. India doesn't need to do this. But definitely if across our country also, if we find some religious preachers are trying to instill the wrong, distorted notion of any religion, whether it's Islam or any other thing, we need to now take serious cognizance of this. Britain is beginning now to regret. They thought free speech, let anybody come. And preachers came there who started teaching, a particular extreme brand of Islam, Salafi Islam. We are going to have this law, that law, Nizam al-Mustafa. You have to comply with these kinds of Sharia mandates. Suddenly they have woken up. What are you talking about? This is our country, you have come into Britain. This is not a country which was Islamic, it was a Christian country. People who are trying to go into that direction, I think government cannot now take a laissez-faire attitude. It's a free country, you do what you want. No. We will now have to restrict you. We will talk about tolerance, about respect for all religions. And Yogi Adityanath, he has said openly, I have no problem with the Muslims at all. They are our brothers. At one time, perhaps a lot of them were Hindu, doesn't matter. They chose to become Muslim at whatever time of history. But please respect our religious conditions and our sentiments. What is wrong with that? People now talk in the so-called Hindu, some people abroad particularly phobia of Hinduism. What is Hinduism? Hinduism is the most tolerant cultural and religious and you can call it conceptual, philosophical system in the world. There is nothing to match it. So, what they are only saying is, we maintain that openness, we give respect, give us also equal respect in return. So when we talk about Hindu consolidation, today's government is pro-Hindu. All they are trying to do is to make sure that the Hindu core identity of openness, of respect for all religions, of compassion, of love, of service is not diluted by any external kind of accretion, something that is forced on it. No, this is not the way we live. That's all. So I think personally that governments cannot now afford to remain idle or oblivious of what is happening. At all levels, I even said last time in the conference, the United Nations, it's high time it wakes up, calls conferences to make sure that people like Boko Haram and Islamic State and all the chaps who are trying to create violence in the name of religion are somehow brought into a room and told this is not very on. You have to stop this nonsense, otherwise there is going to be action to be taken. And likewise, within our own country, at the level of the central government, the state and the local level, if you ever find somebody is trying to propagate extreme forms of religion, the answer has to be an absolute no-go, period. Living in this country, the country which believes in love and compassion. Somebody asked Dalai Lama quite some time ago, which is the best religion in your view? He said, the religion which teaches love and compassion. That is the core of the Hindu view of life. Dr. Radhakrishnan said, we are brothers and sisters united in a common quest for God realization. We are seeking the same summit of God realization while living on this earth. Whether we approach Him from one way or the other way doesn't matter. But our quest unites us as brothers and sisters. So I'm all just saying, here is where we are. And we cannot afford to be complacent. We have to take stern action where people are now drifting away into any form of extremism. Thank you.